I'm going to interrupt that Garnet Silk, Mama Africa. And it's funny, there are lots of artists singing about Africa, but they're using the word Mama. Of course, Mama Africa is the cradle of civilization from which all nations came. You better believe that. All right, on the line right now, I have Miss Constance Graham. Good evening, Constance. How are you?
I'm okay, Sheron. How are you?
Okay, all right. Thank you. First of all, let me say thank you very much because I know until someone is actually going through what you have gone through, no one can feel the pain that you are feeling right now. Of course, Constance Graham goes by the name of Little Miss, as the family calls her, is the mother of Ramarley Graham. And for those who haven't heard or have been living under a rock, Ramarley Graham was the young teen, 18 years old, who was murdered by Richard Hasty on, was it February the 4th?
February the 2nd.
February the 2nd, in his home, in his bathroom, in front of his grandmother and 6-year-old brother. I'm sorry to bring up these memories again, Constance, but just to give background information for people who may not have heard. All right, so fast forward. Richard Hasty, a grand jury was convened and a trial was started where Richard Hasty was charged not with murder, but it was, what was the charge?
Manslaughter 1 and 2.
Manslaughter 1 and 2. And the trial is progressing. Various court dates are taking place, and the community and the family are at the front and center of galvanizing and getting people to support. First of all, to get Richard Hasty charged, right? Because I read something very interesting. Of all the police shootings of unarmed teens, Ramarley's case is the only one to date where a police officer has been indicted. Is that true?
Yes. Ever since Sean Bell, Ramarley was the only one. Since then, was indicted. Richard Haste was indicted for manslaughter 1 and manslaughter 2, due to the fact how we was out there and the videotape proved, shown, what went on that leading up to the incident.
Right, because thank you also for your page, Constance. It kind of reminds us, because I remember when the story first broke, all sorts of wild allegations were being put out there as fact, that Ramarley was a drug dealer, that Ramarley had a gun, that Ramarley was selling weed on White Plains Road. But really and truly, this was a tragic case that came about as part of a bigger harassment. I'm talking about the stop and frisk of the youth in communities of color. Now, I know it's still very, very painful for you, because I tell you what, Constance, I saw that video clip when the verdict came down from the judge. Tell us what happened and how you felt when you heard that judgment recently.
I, as a mother, I couldn't sit there any longer and listen to the judge, what he had to say, because for the whole year and change that we've been rallying and protesting, I've been calm and I held everything in. And to see this judge was gonna let this man walk out of the court again and said, okay, you're gonna go free. You're free again to go out there. I had to let him see the pain I was feeling and what I was going through. I didn't want him to come outside laughing again like they did at the Raymond when he got the $50,000 bail, and he came outside laughing. And his fellow officers was out there applauding him for murdering my son, which didn't do anything. All he was guilty of is walking on White Plains Road and being a black boy. That's all it was. He wasn't selling any drugs. He wasn't running from anybody. He didn't fight with the police. None of that stuff. All the other stuff you hear, the media was putting out. The video shows. The video shows.
I wonder
they show a person running. That was not even my son.
The person
look
running
at the person
was wearing
running
a white
clothes
shirt.
And look at my son's clothes. How could you run and change your clothes at the same time?
Absolutely. But, I guess they think that we're all stupid, Constance, because the person who was running was clearly not Ramarley, because Ramarley walks up to his house. It's not as though anyone was chasing him. He looks back as though somebody calls him, and he goes calmly into his house. You then see the police officers running up with guns drawn. and the frantic kicking at the door. Hasty wanted to get in for whatever reason, but there's a quite a period of time that elapses. They go round to the back of the house and
they had
barge
45
in.
minutes.
It was
You
over
know, to
5
call for
minutes,
backup,
right?
which they didn't.
Right.
They went through the back door. It's funny because they went through one door. They stuck the gun in the tenant place on the first floor, went through that door, came to the front door of the tenant house, and opened that door and came out in the hallway, opened the front door where he saw he was kicking, and let the other cops come in, and they ran up the steps. So they had 45 minutes outside to step back and say, listen, we're doing something wrong.
This is not
but
hot
no,
pursuit
they went around
anymore.
the back, got in, and then came up a flight of steps again and kick another door open. And what makes me so a lot of angry, because he sat there in court and said he feared for his life. How could you fear for your life when you put yourself in that danger when you don't even know if he had a gun, because that's what you claim they told you.
So why are you chasing someone into a house if they have a gun?
Exactly.
You don't know what's in there. You don't know who's in there waiting for you.
Exactly.
Constance, we just want to give you the encouragement, because we know that you and Ramarley's father, Uncle Frank Graham, have really kind of been thrust into a role that we hope that no mother and father would be thrust into. But you seem to be pivotal to the families who are going through the same thing that you're going through. Where do you get your strength from?
I think it's from where I'm from. I'm from Jamaica. And as a lot of people know, I came here, I was 13 years old, but I never forgot where I'm from. So for me being, as what they call it, the ghetto, we had to fend for ourselves. So I know with this, I have to be out there, and I have to let people know I'm not a weak person. My son don't have a voice, and because of me, he's going to have a voice, because they're going to hear my voice. I'm going to speak for him, and I will never give up this fight for my son. I love my son, and I'll always love my son. And all these other young men out there, they became my son, and this is who I'm fighting for, and I'm not going to give up until this man go to jail, till he be held accountable for what he did to my son, because he didn't just kill Ramarley, he killed a whole community.
So you're hearing, if you're just logged in and listening to the voice you're hearing right now, is the pain-tinged voice of Constance, Ramarley Graham's mother. Constance Malcolm, I mean, your fortitude and your grace, because I'm telling you, I don't know if I could have sat court date after court date after court date, the hassle, the harassment that you and your supporters and community members have to go through just to get into the courtroom, because I know they do everything to deter you, and you plug away and you plug away. As you said, you are now the voice of your son, because his voice has been silenced by Richard Haste. I say he was murdered by Richard Haste. But what's going on now with the DA's office? You say that the judge.
I want to let people know that
yes,
this
please.
case is not over. A lot of people have been coming up to, they threw out this and it's finished. No, it's not finished. It's a technicality. Even though it's a technicality, I'm gonna go back a little bit, because a lot of people go to prison on technicality. But for some reason, when it comes to the cop, they always find some way of going around it to find stuff to throw a case out. But this is not finished. What happened is they found they saying the DA didn't tell the jury that Richard Haste was relying on the other officer that radioed and said that they thought Ramarley had a gun. They saw Ramarley with a gun. So this is where the technicality comes in.
But
so it's not over. The judge didn't say the evidence is not there. He didn't say that. The evidence is there. It's just the way how they presented the case to the grand jury. So now we have two choices. We could appeal it and wait, or we could go back into the grand jury. What I want is to go back in the grand jury, because we got an indictment the first time. They believe all the evidence the first time. So nothing has changed. So if we go back in the grand jury, we should be able to get another second indictment.
Right. I know that people think that Robert Johnson's office, this DA, is, as Frank said, the DA and the NYPD work very closely together. How can the fox then be left to guard the hen house?
So that's what it is. We as people have to make them. They work for us. So we have to show them as a community, as a New York citizen, people that live in New York, that we are watching you. We are watching you. We're not going to let this one roll.
Now,
so that's why we need the support of the community to come out and let our voice be heard. Like I said, this is not just for my son. This is for all my son that's out there that, potentially could happen to again.
Right. We know that there was a rally recently, well, actually this past Saturday, that started at your home, and members of the community were out there to support the news that the case had been dismissed. It doesn't mean it's the end of the case, because there are options, as you explained. Now, I was there because when I can, I am supporting the Graham and family, because my daughter went to school with Ramarley. This is on my doorstep. This is in my neighborhood. This could have happened to any child, and it is happening to our children. Ramarley's case is not the only case. I think there have been 19 killings of teens or something
actually,
like that.
Over 24, I think.
Over 24. And actually, the young man, the 16-year-old youth from Brooklyn who was gunned down, Kamani Gray, his mother was actually at the rally on Saturday. And it was heartbreaking to see her break down at that time, because it's a mother's grief at losing a child and under such tragic circumstances. Nobody can feel that pain until you go through it.
Yeah.
And for her to be
there,
I'm
trying to, show people, we don't want to welcome you to that club. We don't want this to happen to you. We don't want you in that club. This club is not a nice club. This is a club I wouldn't want anybody to come in.
You can hear the pain in Constance's voice as she picks up the banner, picks up the mantle, and picks up the fight for her son, Ramarley Graham. He's buried at Woodlawn Cemetery, and in the demonstration, in the rally that took place, started off from their house in the Bronx, 229th Street. Frank Ramarley's father was saying, it's very, very hard, because it's not just the family that feels it, it's the whole community. It's this stain on the community. You see the police officers and you wonder, is it my turn? Because it could happen. We're being policed in a climate where it seems to be okay for a police officer to gun down an unarmed youth. And it's okay that nothing comes out of it, but not this time.
That's right, not this time, because we're going to push and we're going to make sure, even if we have to use him to set an example out of him, that's what we have to do, and let them know NYPD is not above the law. There is law you have to follow along with everybody else.
Absolutely. I know nothing will bring Ramarley back, and I know you recently had a birthday. I know Mother's Day was last Sunday. I know these are two very painful events for you. Constance, what is your wish? How do you want your son's life and death to change, to make a change in the community?
What my wish is to see, this doesn't happen. I don't want another mother be in the same shoes as me, because, like I said, it's not a good feeling, and the pain will never go away. No matter, everybody feels different pain. Every mother feels a different pain. And I don't want nobody in the situation where we are, because I can't even explain it. But I just want, I want to see this case at least come where we could go to court, and so we have our day in court. Let us have our day in court. Not just that a judge say, okay, we're going to dismiss it on a technicality. No, let us get us in the court at least. Because as you see, this was the first indictment.
Since
all the cases that was going on over since January till now. This was the only case that had an indictment. So everybody was looking at the case like, yes, we're going to see justice. And that's all I'm asking for. Just give me the justice that my son deserves. Let him look up and say, well, my mom fought for me hard to get this. And that's what I'm going to do, because I'm a mom. I love all my kids, and I'm going to fight to the end. There's nothing going to stop me. Like Frank said, he'll have to kill me too before I stop.
Absolutely. And Constance, I feel that even though people will say, why does God let these things happen? in you and Frank, you're able to galvanize the community. And I know you feel disappointed at the level of support that comes from the community, but I feel part of the problem is that people don't know what's going on. So I'm hoping that, the media outlets, radio stations, news outlets, especially in communities of color, will spread the news that whenever you make the call that there's a rally, there's a demonstration, we need you to come to the courthouse to support, that people will actually take up that call and support. As you put on your Facebook page, if it was a dance, if it was a party, the place would have been rammed. And it's really a sad indictment on our community that we can sit and fold our hands. But as I wrote, today for me, tomorrow for you.
And I am kind of disappointed in my people. When I say my people, not the Caribbean people. I understand their situation, and I understand that. But when we go protest and we go walk, since this whole year, nobody has been arrested because we do it in a decent manner, because that's who we are. We don't want to show them and to give them the reason to say, oh, look at that. See, I told you it was animal. We're not going to give them that, because we could be decent. We are decent people.
Absolutely, and we have rights. There is the freedom of speech. As I said, that the rally and demonstration this past Saturday in the rain, people still came out, and the march took place along White Plains Road up to 33rd, and traffic was shut down. And I think more and more events like this have to take place, but they have to take place in the communities where it matters, not in our communities, in communities where we can make some change, where blocking a street will stop commerce, and that's
and letting them know we're blocking the street. And for the whole year we've been doing all this protest. Remind you, you're supposed to have a permit, and I never one day had a permit, because I'm gonna let them know I'm gonna abide by your rules. You can go by my rules now.
That's right. And this is what it's called insurgency, but illegal insurgency in a way. There's nothing to stop freedom of assembly and freedom of speech. And as one of the women who was at the demonstration, she spoke very succinctly about white privilege. And I think we need to exercise that white privilege, because trust me, the things that woman was saying in the march, I was like, oh my God. And she was talking about white privilege, getting up in the faces of the police officers and saying to them, yeah, and what happens when they come for your kid tomorrow? What are you going to be doing? And we need to do this. We need to let the authorities know that we are mad and we are not going to take this anymore.
And another thing we have to do as West Indian people of Caribbean, we have to educate ourselves, and that's the problem. We're not educating ourselves enough to know our rights.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Constance. You couldn't have said that better. We have to know what our rights are, and we must stop being cowed. Freedom cannot be given to us. It has to be taken.
Yes.
It has to be taken. In the times of slavery, do you see anybody giving anybody freedom? Wasn't it something that was fought for? In the same way that Constance is fighting for justice for her son, Ramarley Graham, who was gunned down, 18 years old, in his own home. Gunned down, murdered by NYPD. Can you tell me, Constance, is Richard Haste back on duty?
I really don't know. He was, even when he was going to court, he was still working. And that's another problem we have to try to change, because if one of us get in trouble and we get locked up and we go to jail, we automatically lose our job. The job is not waiting for us. But it seems like every time these cops do something, their job always waits for them. Even when they don't go to court, their job is still there. Kelly put them down in one police plaza doing paperwork. No, they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be getting a paycheck.
It would be nice for Ramarley to be getting a paycheck, right? Yeah. It's very, very sad. It's very unfair. But the only way change is going to come is for the community to rise up, to stand up. And I'm urging the members of the community who are listening, and we're recording this, and we're going to put it on Facebook, and we're going to put it out there. And I'm urging everybody in media to help to spread the word. The Ramarley Graham case has been thrown out, but this is not the end of the struggle. It's not the end of the fight. It's the beginning, and the same force, the same righteous indignation that we all felt when Ramarley was first killed, we need to generate that same righteous indignation again, because we can't let this just die a death. Ramarley's name has to stand for something, even if it means that we make a sacrifice. We have to sacrifice, because the loss that Constance and Frank and family members are going through is nothing. We cannot compare our sacrifice with their loss, and we need to come together and support them in their struggle and in their fight for justice. And it's not just Ramarley, it's a whole host of other teens who have been murdered since Ramarley's death. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop until we say enough is enough and we're not going to take this anymore. Let's do it for Ramarley.
And if anybody needs to reach me, we have the Ramarley page on Facebook, and we have an email address you can reach us to. Ramarley's Call, RAMARLEYSCALL.
And is that at Gmail?
gmail.com. You could email us, and we also have a telephone number, which I don't have with me right now. You could always go on the website. We have the Ramarley's Call website.net. You could go on that also, and you'll be able to get information from that. You know, I'm still living in the house. If you want to stop by and ask what's going on, that's okay too.
Right. And the thing is, Constance, what we want to do is, as the information is out there, we want to get the information out to as many people. The Conduit show has been highlighting the whole Ramarley Graham issue. We've talked about it on the show. I've updated people as to what's going on with the various court dates, not because I'm not able to be there in person. We're still fighting and struggling to get the word out there and to see that justice is definitely served. I just want to say to you, Constance, that C. Cape in the chat room is saying that she applauds you for your struggle and what you're doing, and people are very outraged at what happened at the last court hearing, that the judge threw the case out on a technicality, but it's not over yet. The case does continue. So we just, when are you going to hear from the DA as to the next step?
I think after the judge make a decision, excuse me, it takes 15 days for the district attorney to get the paperwork from the judge, and then we move from there. But we're not going to wait for all of that. We're going to get back in the street, and we got to do what you got to do. Like I said, we have to block the stadiums. We're going to stop their money flow. We're going to do whatever it takes.
There you go.
And I give them 7 days to do all of that, and after 7 days, we're going to take it to the street again and do what we have to do.
Okay, so you know what? We're going to definitely keep in touch with the campaign. It's Ramarley's Call. .net is the website, and there's a page on Facebook, Ramarley's Call on Facebook, and definitely there's an email if you want to get on that email listing. It's Ramarley's Call @gmail.com. Send them an invite, and they will add you to the mailing list so that you will be in the know. You'll be in the loop when it comes to the information that's going out there as to what's happening. If you are able to attend any of the court hearings, then we urge you to do so. Make sure you have your ID and that you're properly behaved, because we don't want to give anybody any excuse to stop you from entering the courtroom. Right, Constance?
That's right. That's right.
Because they'll come up with all kinds of tricks.
Yeah. You know, and as you said that, I remember when I was watching the video when Charmaine, the young lady that's been helping me, and I want to say thanks so much to Charmaine. I know a lot of people don't know. I didn't know Charmaine before this.
Wow.
I never met Charmaine. Excuse me. I never met her before this, and she's been with us, and since February 2nd, she's been here, and she still is here with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say thank you. And when Charmaine was in front of the court, and one of the court officers said to her, get in behind the pen. And she looked at me, who the hell you talking to? We're not pigs. We're not going behind no pen. And this is how they think of us.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying get behind the barrier, he said get in the pen.
Yeah, you see? There you go. It's like a drunken man. His real content, his real intent actually comes out when he's drunk.
Yes.
Wow.
See,
Get behind the pen.
What we have to deal with. That's how we say we have to educate ourselves how to deal with these people. Because, you know, if you go and start, screaming, they look at you like, she don't know what she's saying. But if you educate yourself and you know what you're talking about, they're just going to walk away. They're not going to go toe-to-toe with you.
Now, Constance, I know you also mentioned the elderly gentleman in White Plains.
Mr. Kenneth.
Mr. Kenneth, what's his
Chamberlain.
Mr. Chamberlain. What's happening with that case? The officers, there was no charge brought, right?
There was no charge. I spoke to Kenneth. The last time I spoke to Kenneth, I think the feds is picking it up. I'm not sure where he's with it right now, but that's even another case where this should have never happened. You know, this is a 68-year-old man that called for help, and this is the problem. We calling for help, and instead of they helping us, they're killing us.
Wow.
They are killing us. So who do we call for help? The people we're supposed to call for help are killing us. Where we go from there?
Wow. I mean, it's a very sad situation, and we feel as though we're living under siege because, as you say, the people who are to protect us. But I want to tell you, Constance, the police are not here to protect us. I want to tell you that.
That's what I always say. Police can't police police. We have to police them.
Absolutely. And it's an unfortunate role and position that you find yourself in. But God knows why things work out the way they do. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's a Constance Malcolm who's going to make a change. Maybe it's a Constance Malcolm that we'll be talking about 50 years from now to say this was the mother who really sacrificed so that her son could get justice. And, you know, Mother's Day has passed, but we want to applaud you, Constance, for the work that you are doing, and also to encourage you not to give up the fight. No, it's not easy. We know it's not easy. We know there are times when you want to just curl up and die. But you know what? You are a beacon for other mothers who are out there who don't have the eloquence and the fortitude and the stamina and the courage to do what you're doing. So fly the flag for them as well.
Thank you.
All right. I want to say my heart goes out to you and to the family. Keep on keeping on. And, you know, the Conduit show, Sheron P, will always, always put that message out there. So I'm on the mailing list, and I'll start coming with the updates as to court dates and demonstrations and rallies. But, of course, you know, we have to also keep certain things on a down low.
Yes.
So we can't tell the
fox.
That's
why you have to be on the mailing list to know what's going on.
Can't tell the fox what's going on. All right? Yeah. So
all right,
I know you have to go off and do another interview with another radio station, but I want to say thank you so much, Constance, for taking this time out at short notice to let us know what's going on. The struggle continues.
No problem, Sharon. Thank you. No problem.
All right.
No justice, no peace.
Yes, no justice, no peace. That's an Al-Sharpton phrase, and I want to say thank you, Constance, and we'll definitely keep talking, all right?
Okay.
God bless to you and the family.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
All right. Oh, my goodness. That was Miss Constance Graham. You heard it from her own mouth. Yes, Tora, serve and protect doesn't apply to all. It is very, very sad, but it's true. That's Constance Malcolm there, the mother of Ramarley Graham, who's continuing with her fight for justice for her son. And, let me just play this track here while I'm on the subject.
The 18-year-old was unarmed. The story is developing at 11. Eyewitness reporter Jeff Begay at the scene in the Wakefield section. Jeff?
Yeah, the NYPD's top brass acknowledging tonight that the 18-year-old did not have a gun when he was shot and killed in his home. The investigation underway behind me down this block tonight.
This one goes out to Ramarley Graham. They say the good dies young. 18 years old, his life took by a gun. Damn shame, I'm sure he had plans of his own, till cops decided to kill him in his grandmother's home. With no warrant, they kicked the door in and shot him in his chest for trying to flush marijuana down the toilet. Since when is marijuana that serious? I swear there's no excuse for that, period. It boils down to brutal police tactics. It's funny how the ones dying are the black kids. Ramarley Graham isn't living, so Officer Richard Haste should be locked in prison. I'm just saying, they let him get away. Yeah, they stripped him of his gun, but why is he still getting paid? And to Ramarley Graham's family, never stray. Continue to pray, and I promise there'll be better days. Gone but not forgotten. Ramarley was unarmed, but cops still shot him. Seems to be a pattern, something gotta change. Thought we were moving forward when Obama came, but things are not the same. Every week on the news, another youth's death. Sometimes I stare at my peers like who's next? The color of my skin, I love it. So until someone gives, I'ma scream justice. R.I.P. Ramarley, things are getting crazy.
right, we got a request for a pull-up there from Kaylee's mum. I'm going to pull it up, but I'm not going to play it all the way through. So we're just going to pull it up and start it again, all right? Just like this. For Kaylee's mum, Ramarley was her friend too.
Richard Haste should be locked in prison. I'm just saying, they let him get away. Yeah, they stripped him of his gun, but why is he still getting paid? And to Ramarley Graham's family, never stray. Continue to pray, and I promise there'll be better days. Gone but not forgotten. Ramarley was unarmed, but cops still shot him. Seems to be a pattern, something gotta change. Thought we were moving forward when Obama came, but things are not the same. Every week on the news, another youth's death. Sometimes I stare at my peers like who's next? The color of my skin, I love it. So until something gives, I'ma scream for justice. R.I.P. Ramarley. Things are getting crazy, we need a change. R.I.P. Ramarley. Let your tears flow, please don't be ashamed. R.I.P. Ramarley. Gone too soon, his family is paid. R.I.P. Ramarley. Lights in the air if you feel the same. Ramarley didn't deserve to die so soon. The situation's sad, sky so gloom. I pray that God gives his family strength, and I hope this song helps his family vent. Remember, Ramarley's in a better place, and God is never too early or ever late. He's always on time and took him for a reason. Just keep the faith and fight for what you believe in. Justice. These police are not being trained, but Ramarley Graham's death will not be in vain. The way the cops did him, they should feel ashamed, and we gon' keep rallying till we see a change. Yeah, rest in peace to all the others who died by the hands of the so-called police. They don't want our brothers to rise, and why are they still walking the beat? Why? R.I.P. Ramarley. Things are getting crazy, we need a change. R.I.P. Ramarley. Let your tears flow, please don't be ashamed. R.I.P. Ramarley. Gone too soon, his family is paid. R.I.P. Ramarley. Lights in the air if you feel the same.
Take me to the sunny side of the sea.
Who's a false start? That's not actually the track I wanted to play. It's actually this one.